Okay, looking at question 1, we know that a squared is 7, so to find a to the power of 4, it's going to be a squared multiplied by a squared. That gives you 7 times 7, which is 49. Next question, we know we're looking for a to the power negative 2. Now that negative sign means it's going to be 1 over a squared. That gets rid of the negative. And then that negative means a reciprocal. So that will be 1 over 7. Okay, question 2, we're going to solve this equation. 2t plus 1 equals 33. So I'm going to take away 1 from both sides. So I have 2t equals 32. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So I now have t is equal to 16. Part B, we have 3s equals 5. 3s minus 5 equals 10 plus s. So we're going to take away the smallest unknown, which in this case is 1s. So take away 1s, take away 1s. And then this becomes 2s minus 5 equals 10. Add 5 to both sides. And then we get 2s equals 15. Divide by 2, divide by 2. S is equal to 15 over 2. Or if you just want to have a bit of fun, you can change it into a decimal, which is 7.5. Okay, what's the area of an equilateral triangle with each side being 6 centimeters? Okay, so we're going to sketch the triangle out. It's going to be 6, 6, and another 6 there. To work out the area of a triangle, we're going to need to use half times base times height. I'm going to put a small p there because we want the perpendicular height. So the perpendicular height is going to be this height here. So that means that's 6. I'm going to split that up into 2 parts. So it's going to be 3 and 3. To find that height, which I don't have, I'm going to need to use this little thing called Pythagoras. I knew you were looking forward to this, so was I. So there's your right angle triangle. It's badly drawn there. So that's your right angle. That's your hypotenuse. And then we can call this A and B. Well, let's call the height A and we'll call the base B. So we can say from this, that's going to be 6. So A squared plus B squared equals H squared. And then we can say A squared plus 3 squared equals 6 squared. A squared plus 9 equals 36. I'm going to take away 9 from both sides. So A squared equals 27. And A is equal to root 27. That is now the height of that triangle. So we now have the height and we're going to replace that height with root 27. So we can now write half times base. We're only looking at this triangle on the left, so base is 3 times height, which is root 27. Now, this tells us the area of this triangle here. But remember, we've got 2 of those. So we're actually going to multiply this whole thing by 2 to work out the total area. So we're just going to put times 2 there. Now, everything's being multiplied. Multiplication is commutative, so I'm going to rewrite this in a slightly different way. I'm going to write half. I'm going to bring the 2 forwards a bit. Half times 2 times 3 times root 27. Now half times 2 is just 1. 1 times 3 is 3, so this becomes 3 root 27. And then you can leave it like this, or you can, in this case, it's asking you to give your answer to 1 decimal place. So on your calculator, you can just do 3 times root 27, which will give you 15.588. And to 1 decimal place, it will just be 15.6 centimeters squared. Okay, next question. Directed numbers. So -1 times -7. So you're going to get, that's just going to be +7. For B, it's -1. When you're taking away a negative, you go up the number line. So -1 plus 7, which is +6. And then here, we're multiplying everything together. And so you just work from left to right. So -1 times -2 is +2. And then you multiply that by -3, which gives you -6. List the factors of the following. So 90 was going to be 1 times 90. 2 times 45. We can see it goes into 3. 3 times 30. 90 divided by 4 is not going to work. 90 divided by 5 is going to work. So it's going to be 5 times 18. And then 90 divided by 6 is going to be 15 times 6. And then you can just write this as a list. So 1, 2, 3, and you can write all the numbers out there. Question B, the factors of 6x. Okay, so it's going to be 1 times 6x, 2 times 3x, 3 times 2x, 6 times 1x, and then we have to think about all the factors of 6x. Well, we can write it as 2x, which you already have, 3x. I think that is actually going to be all the factors. So you can just write those out as a list. 1, 2, 3, 6, and the rest of the terms there. 5y cubed. So it's going to be 1 times 5y cubed, 5 times y cubed. Then you have 5y times y squared. We can have 5y, and we can list the factors here. So it's going to be 1, 5, 5y squared, y. Oh, we also forgot y as well. Y is also a factor. So that will be 5y squared times y. So those are all of the factors. Okay, I'm growing a sunflower on Monday. It has 2 leaves. Tuesday, it has 5. Wednesday, it has 8. Thursday, 11. So how many leaves will it have on Sunday? So you can actually just count up. You can see it's going up by 3 each time. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So add 3. So that's 11, 14, 17, 20. So how many will it have on day 30? Well, we can count them up, but that would be quite laborious. So we're going to use our knowledge of sequences here. So this is basically the 3 times table, but it starts at 2. So the sequence would be 3n minus 1, where n is the number of days. So 30 days, that n would become 30, so 3 times 30 minus 1, so 90 minus 1 is 89. Okay, an irregular octagon has 7 internal angles that are the same and one which is 30 degrees. So it's an 8-sided shape. We know that the sum of the interior angles is found using n minus 2 times 180, where n is the number of sides. Let's try to sketch this out, and hopefully this will work out quite well. So I want an 8-sided shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see if that's worked. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's an 8-sided shape. We know that one of these angles is 30. Now it's just a sketch, that doesn't look like a 30-degree angle. But we also know that all of these are the same, so we can just call them x. We can call them the same letter. So now using this formula, we're going to find out what all of this has to add up to. So 8 sides minus 2 times 180 equals, so I'm just going to do that on my calculator. So I get 6 times 180, which is 1080. You know that this angle is 30, so I'm going to take away 30 from there. Which is 1050. And then I have to divide this by the number of sides that are left. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you get 150 degrees. Okay, what's the highest common factor of 90a and 168ab? So let's write this out upside down division method. So 90a and 168ab. So I can immediately see I can take a out as a factor. I can also divide both of these by, let's see, is 168 divisible by 3? So 6 plus 8 plus 1 is 15. 15 is divisible by 3, so I'm going to divide both of these by 3. So 90 divided by 3 is 30. 168 divided by 3 is 56. Now I can divide both sides by 2. So that will be 15 and 28. I can now divide these by, well, I think these are going to be coprime. So we can stop. And then we can see the highest common factor is a times 3 times 2, which is 6a. Okay, for the fractions question, we are going to do 2 over 9 plus 1 and 1/15. So I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. So that's going to be 15 times 1 plus 1 over 15. Now I need to figure out what's the lowest common multiple of 9 and 15. So they go into 3, which is 3 and 5. 3 times 3 times 5 is 45. So I need to change the denominators so they are 45 for this question, and then I can add these two together. So 2 over 9 times 5 over 5 plus 16 over 15 times, well, how many 15s go into 45? That's going to be 3 over 3. This then becomes 10 over 45 plus 16 times 3, which is 48 over 45, and then I get 58 over 45. So that's the answer to part A. Now we're going to look at question B. 2 over 9, take away 1 and 1/15. So we can use some of the information from the previous question here. So this is just going to be 2 over 9, take away 16 over 15. However, I'm going to multiply this by 5 over 5. And I'm going to multiply this by 3 over 3. You get the same thing here. So 10 over 45, take away 48 over 45. So then 10 take away 48 gives you negative 38 over 45. So that's the answer to question part B. Now looking at part C, 2 over 9 multiplied by 1 and 1/15. Again, just using our previous working out, this is just going to be 2 over 9 multiplied by 16 over 15. Now we can simplify this normally, but looking at this, there aren't really any factors that we can cancel out. So we're going to have to just do the multiplication as it is. So 2 times 16 is 32, and 15 times 9 is 135. And that's it. There's nothing that goes into both of those numbers, 32 and 135, so you can't simplify it. And then looking at part D, 2 over 9 divided by 1 and 1/15. That becomes 2 over 9 divided by 16 over 15. Now dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, so it's 2 over 9 times 15 over 16. Now in this case we can cancel out 9 and 15 because they go into 3, and 2 and 16 also go into 2. So let's write out the simplified version here. So that's going to be 2 times, now 15 I can write as 3 times 5, over 9 I can write as 3 times 3, and 16 I can write as 4 times 4. What cancels out? Well, the 3's cancel out, and that and the 2, and then that becomes 2. So we now get 5 over 3 times 2 times 4 is 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, looking at the next question. I increase the number by 25%. The answer is 220. What's the original number? So we can sketch out a percentage bar. So 100% is the original number. I increase it by 25% and I get 220. So what is the original number? So you have to be sensible about picking numbers here. What goes into 125 and 220? Well, 5 goes into both. So 125 divided by 5 will give you 25. So divided by 5. And we're going to do the same thing here. 220 divided by 5 will give you 44. So now how can I go up to work out what 100% is? Well, I'm going to multiply it by 4, and I'm going to do the same thing here, multiply it by 4. So 44 times 4 is going to give you 176. That's your original amount. Okay, next question. This question here, trigonometry and angles. So what is sine 45? On your calculator, you get root 2 over 2. And what is cosine 45? Well, you get the same thing. So they match. Draw a triangle to show this. Well, let's figure out why they are the same. If I have a right angle triangle, and one of the angles is 45, from that, I can see that this is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. That must mean this angle is also 45 degrees because it's angles in a triangle. Add up to 180. So let's figure out what we can say about sine. Well, sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse, and cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, there's another thing we need to remember about these triangles, and that is the fact that these two sides have the same length. It's an isosceles because the two angles here match. That means that these two lengths will have to be the same, and therefore we can say that they are the same as each other. Okay, recipe question. For 12 cupcakes, uses the following ingredients. You can see them on the screen there. How many cupcakes can I make from a kilogram of flour? So if I have a kilogram of flour, well, 125 grams will make 12 cupcakes. To get a kilogram, I'm going to have to multiply it by 8. And I can also multiply that by 8. So 125 times 8 is 1,000, which is 1 kilogram. And then 12 times 8 equals 96 cupcakes. How much sugar will I need? Well, 140 grams will make you 12 cupcakes. We need to make 96. So 12 times what is 96? You can do 96 divided by 12, which is going to give you 8. Now we just figured that out already. So 140 times 8 is going to give you 1,120 grams. Or in other words, 1 kilogram and 120 grams. Although you can just leave it in grams. Butter is sold in 250 gram packs. How many packs of butter will I need? Well, I can make, from here I can see 130 grams will make 12 cupcakes. I'm going to need to multiply that by 8. So I get 1040 grams. And that's 96. Now I can only get multiples of 250 grams. So how many 250s in 1,000? Well, that's going to be 4. But just for the extra 40 grams, I'm going to need 5 packs. Okay, list the prime numbers in the 2 times tables. Well, 2 is prime, 4, 6, none of those work. So it's just 2. For the 3 times tables, 3, 6, 9. Everything after the 3 is going to be a multiple of 3, so it's just 3. And for the 4 times tables, 4, 8, 12, none of those work because they all divide by 2. So it's only 2 and 3 are the answers for this. It's a bit of a trick question. Okay, that is the homework for you guys.